Now let's look at how the different male and female reproductive tracts develop. This is showing embryonic development and how you get boys and girls. So we start off here. This first picture is a 6-week embryo. For the first 6 weeks, there's no difference between male and female. But after 6 weeks is when they start to diverge and develop differently. You probably know about chromosomes and X and Y chromosomes. Female is 2 X's and male is XY. So at the moment of conception, the chromosomes are determined. Now, all eggs carry an X. And sperm can be either X or Y. So it's which sperm fertilizes the egg that determines if you get a boy or a girl. So if an X sperm fertilizes an X egg, you get 2 X's and you get a girl. If a Y sperm fertilizes the X egg, you get XY and you get a boy. So if we look at the chromosomes and think about what they do, an X chromosome is required by everyone. You cannot live without an X. And notice that men and women both have an X. So there is nothing about an X chromosome that makes you female. So everyone needs an X. Okay, there's nothing special about an X that makes someone female. Okay, but the Y is the distinguishing one. Only men have a Y. So there is something about a Y that causes maleness. The Y has genes for androgens. And if you remember, androgens just means male hormones. So an embryo that has a Y after 6 weeks will start making male hormones, and those male hormones cause the embryo to become a male. So female is the default. Having 2 X's isn't what makes you a female. It's lacking a Y that makes you a female. And in a male, having the Y, it codes for androgens. And then those androgens turn the embryo male. So here at the 6-week embryo, the structures are the same. So this is a tubercle. This part here is what will either become the labia, if this becomes a female, or the scrotum, if it becomes a male. And this is the anus. After 6 weeks, when they start to diverge, you can see that in the girl, This, the tubercle, becomes the clitoris. And that tissue we looked at before, these both become the labia. And in the male, that tubercle becomes the glands of the penis. And that purple tissue becomes the shaft of the penis. And the scrotum. Now notice here the scrotum is empty. So this is a 12-week fetus and this is a 20-week fetus. The testes descend into the scrotum shortly before birth. So the testes actually form inside the body and then descend into the scrotum shortly before birth. So the basics of becoming male or female is whether or not you have a Y. If you have a Y, you get androgens. The androgens stimulate male development. If you lack a Y, you don't get the androgens and you follow the female path by default. Now there are exceptions to this. Not everyone has 46 chromosomes. So you can have non-disjunctions, which would change the number of chromosomes in a gamete. Like Down syndrome is a common non-disjunction. You have 47 chromosomes instead of 46. You can have XO, meaning this person would have 45 chromosomes total. They're missing one. This person is still going to be female. You don't need 2 X's to be a female. All you need to be a female is to not have a Y. Now, having said that, there's another exception. There are XY females. The way this can occur is androgen insensitivity. Hormones work by binding to receptors on cells. So you have a cell, and a cell has a receptor. A hormone binds to the receptor. You can think of a receptor like an antenna for a radio. If you don't have the receptor, there's nothing for the hormone to bind to. So you can have a cell and you can have a hormone, but if there's no receptor, nothing happens. It would be like breaking the antenna off your radio. Then your radio can't get the signals anymore. So if there's no receptor, the cell can't get the signal. And this is how you can get a woman who has a Y, is if she lacks the receptors for the androgens. So you can have an XY embryo, and the Y will code for androgens. But the cells lack the receptors. So they don't respond to the androgens. And follow the female development by default. Another thing that can happen with the non-disjunction, where not everybody has 46 chromosomes, is you can have two X's and a Y. So what do you think it would be in this case? Two X's and a Y. This is a male because there is a Y, and the Y will code for the androgens. So remember, it's not two X's that makes you female. It's lack of a Y that makes you female. There's another example that I have a video of that I'll show you in class called Guevadochi. And this is where you have XY are born female, but then at puberty turn into a male. And this is due to a lack of an enzyme in the embryo. And this enzyme is needed in order for the testosterone to work. So without this enzyme, the testosterone can't work. But then later, when you go through puberty, you don't need that enzyme, and it doesn't matter that the enzyme isn't there. So we'll watch a little video clip about this in class.